everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of N.Cast Plus. I'm your host, Prince Ayo. Once again, it's a plus episode, so it's just going to be me. And today's episode is going to be about paradigm shift. But before we get into that topic, let's just start off with a little introduction. First off, I want to apologize for a couple of past mistakes I made in a few episodes, the last two episodes. First episode was vaccine and agendas. I was talking about inflation, and I kind of felt like I was mixing up like the terminology and what I meant for like consumers and stuff like that. First off, inflation is about the price increasing and the dollar amount depreciating. Let's just get that straight. And I'm kind of like making a projection in the next like 5 to 6 months that inflation may occur, because I think just a one-time check in the USA is not really going to do much for the American people, especially when we don't really have a decent timeline for this COVID-19. I mean, obviously the country's doing its best to contain it, but we're still underprepared for this virus. And then the second mistake I made was in my last N.Cast Plus, I said stay at order or something like that. I messed up the terminology. The terminology is actually stay at home order. And that's what I meant to say. Even though I put in the caption, I even put in the caption in the video, YouTube video, I meant to stay at home order. I just think I should like be fully transparent about that. But hey, we live and we learn, right? So the COVID-19 update. So at least in my area, it got up to almost 2,000 people have the coronavirus. So yeah, it's getting up there. So since we still have the stay-at-home order, it's been enacted and it's going forward since I guess Monday of this week. Today is February. Today is April 3rd, 2020. So I guess it was placed in order this past Monday. Hopefully that will help like decrease the chances of the numbers going up. But I'm sort of like a realist. I think this can go on for so long, but we'll see. As long as we keep practicing social distancing and be taking more precaution, a lot of us should be okay. I want to keep a positive mind, but I also want to send like my prayers out to the people who have been affected by it. I've been hearing horrible stories about what's going on with a lot of people, especially this horrible story about a teen who was uninsured and he ended up dying. Like, I prayers out to him, just stuff like that. So yeah, just try to keep a positive mind, take precaution, practice social distancing if you can. If you can't, like, at least try to wear gloves. You know, try to avoid touching your face, you know, yada, yada, yada. But also, for the people who are still staying healthy and at home, even though they're working at home, this is a time to, like, work on new skills, you know? Work on new habits. You know, you have a lot more free time. Like, you have, like, all your extracurricular activities are cut out, you know? There's no chance of those actually happening right now because, you know, you're only restricted to either going to work, working at home, or just being at home, whatever you do in your life. So yeah, you might as well start building new skills, especially on the internet. Like what I'm doing with my podcast, I'm trying to go like every day from here on out. Like I'm exhausted, but at the same time, I'm thinking about like, this is me practicing. Like this is me trying to get after it because like this is the time to create content. It's the time to build on skills. I mean, granted, I'm still finishing up school and stuff like that, so I'm like multitasking, but still, like, it's the time, you know? And a lot of people on social media, when they were at work, you know, before this virus outbreak and stuff like that, used to complain like, yo, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, I got bills, now it's like, I mean, if you still talk to your banks, yeah, all your expense managers, whether it's like the gym or credit card or health insurance, they're willing to work with you because they understand the dilemma that's going on right now. So I mean, it's not for everybody, but I know a lot of people can, could start disciplining themselves and try to obtain a new skill or habit. That helps with your personal growth. And I'm trying to encourage that. Let's get to the topic for today. Paradigm shift. So first off, what's a paradigm? Once again, I have my notes here, so if I'm looking down over here, it's because I have notes. So paradigm is a theory, concept, methods about how something should be done or made or thought about, right? So with that fundamental foundation of a paradigm, what's a paradigm shift? Paradigm shift is like an importance of change, especially when it's not the usual way of thinking. This concept originated from a man named Thomas Kuhn. He was a philosopher of science. He studied the history of science. He made a book of the evolution of science revolution. He went to Harvard. He's a very smart man, all that. He was an interesting guy. I did a little bit of research. I didn't read his book, full disclosure, I'm going to be honest with that. I may read his book one day, but I did a little bit of research about him and what he's done. He's a pretty interesting guy. He really went against the grain of what it meant to be a scientist. And most scientists are critical thinkers. They're they take criticism very seriously because they don't just accept any thought. They feel like their thought's usually superior, and they usually combat it with other scientists and stuff like that. So he said that's not a true scientist. And I'm not trying to go off a rant on it, but just the way he broke it down, and a lot of people who are in the field of science are influenced by his theory behind scientific revolution makes sense, but I don't really want to talk about the scientific part of paradigm shift. I actually want to talk about how paradigm shift isn't only influenced in the science field, but it can be also influenced in other fields like business, social movement, and beyond. So the reason being, I honestly believe, I said it in a couple of other episodes, I think 2 episodes ago, we're in a paradigm shift. This COVID-19 epidemic, pandemic, whether you want to talk, whatever you want to call it, it's literally showing us so much about the world. One, I honestly believe the world's a little bit cleaner since we're regulated from traveling as much, doing what we want when we want, going out when we want, where we want, even though it's kind of sad and people miss their old life, but you can see the world clearing up. In Venice, the water's clearing up. In England, there's no smog in the air, so you can see the Eiffel Tower from England. It's insane to me. Now, don't get it wrong. There's locusts in Africa. In Australia, there was a forest fire or wilderness fire. There's a lot going on in the world right now, but I still see a lot of change. Even though those are natural changes, there's a lot of change. And I'm also seeing that a lot of humans, especially on social media, are kind of like the virus. They're the virus of this planet. We as human beings, including me, are toxic to an extent. So I feel there's pros and cons of what's going on to this virus right now. It's exposing us. And that's just honestly how I feel about it. It's exposing us as human beings and who we are. It's exposing the media, how it's only there to sensationalize and manipulate us. It's exposing how fame doesn't really mean much. You know who the real heroes are? The real heroes are the doctors, the healthcare workers, the people who are trying to save lives. Those are the real heroes, and they should be idolized, And in the day, when it comes to money, it's what good is money if you can't even live your life out how you want? You know, the real wealth is in your health. That's honestly what I believe, and this virus is exposing that. Like, your health is way more important. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. Throw it away, because you're gonna be on your deathbed, and no amount of money can really save you. You feel me? And that's why I think this is a shift in our culture globally, in our culture, how we perceive the world, what's important to us in this world. And that's why I wanted to do an episode about paradigm shift. You know? Like, it's an enlightening period, you know? We're enlightening period, or a spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. You know, everybody has their own terminology. But we're definitely going to a different. What's the best way to put it? A different generation, a different era of how the world's gonna work. Like, even when we start going out again, or maybe get out of quarantine, or this virus, you know, calms down a little bit. I don't think we're gonna operate the same in the world. You can already see that a lot of us don't have to go to work to make money, like, physically. We can make money from home, you know? So transportation can be limited down a little bit, which will help with, like, CO2 being in the air and, you know, climate change. I think it's going to be a lot of change. It's going to be a lot of change. I'm hoping for the better, but that's just me thinking, like, half glass full. But me also being realistic, it's just time to prepare. Like, prepare for whatever comes our way. So, yeah. That's all I got to say for this episode. Appreciate everyone who's watching or listening. This new skill, I'm doing a lot right now. Like, I'm in school, trying to run a business. I'm trying to just personally grow, to elevate myself and possibly inspire the next person. That's all I want to do. I'll find my way to, you know, pay my bills and get my income. But at the end of the day, all I really care about is inspiring the next person. It's like I said before, like, you don't have your health and you're in your deathbed, what good is money? But yeah, let me give you my social media site. Twitter, Nigma Prince, NIGMA PRINCE. You can also follow me on my personal Instagram, P._NIGMA. Or Brian and I podcast Instagram is at N_CAST_ I can't spell today. And then you can also message us, like, requests or questions at ncastpodcast.com. ncastpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, peace.